Hello everybody, welcome back to another video by DissociaDID. This is going to be an update, like housekeeping type video where we tell you where we've been, what's going on, what the changes are, what you can expect from us. I know some of you like to see our makeup when we do interesting things with our makeup. Perhaps this isn't interesting to you, perhaps it's very boring makeup. I don't know, but I like it. So here is the look for today. Also, our hair, what do you think of it? How long will it stay blonde? That is the question. First of all, where did we go? Why did we go on a break? If you weren't watching our YouTube shorts, you might have missed this. So back in August of 2023, we were dealing with a crime. A stalker managed to find our address. We still have no real idea how. Flew from another country and intended to get into our house and essentially turned up outside our door. And we've been dealing with the police in the criminal case since then. Obviously, that was quite re-traumatizing given our past and our history, which we're not going into, but unfortunately the feeling of being watched or filmed, stalked, a lot of watching and being on camera and stuff like that all became even more triggering than it already was before. We have experienced dissociative seizures before. We actually mentioned it in the last video that we uploaded about how we got diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. But as we mentioned in that video, they had calmed down a lot as we worked through our trauma and had better support and got our diagnosis and understood what was going on. However, severe PTSD triggers do seem to cause these non-epileptic seizures. So every time we would try to interact with our audience, check comments, even look at numbers, let alone film a video, it sent us into PTSD flashbacks, seizures, panic attacks, you name it, wasn't good, we couldn't work. So we had to then deal with and start to process that trauma and the trauma before that it was linked to that caused everything to blow up. And because of that, as we said, filming became a slight trigger, a PTSD trigger for us. And because of that, you are probably going to see more switches and more inter-system communication in these new videos that we film, because we will have to work together in a slightly different way now in order to be able to support whoever is filming and get a video out successfully. That means that there are a lot more people close by listening or more aware that we're filming, which pulls them closer, which can mean fluctuations in voice, fluctuations in body language, it can mean full switches, and it might just look a little different than it did before we had to leave on our break. But again, this is all a good example really of how systems can work together to overcome adversary. Another important thing, we have a new host. From sort of summertime last year, 2023, you may have noticed, especially if you follow us on our TikTok, which isn't connected to our DissociaDID project, it's a private TikTok. But if you were watching there, you might have been able to see Kaya's mannerisms changing, becoming a little bit more confrontational, a little bit more easily angered, a little bit more confident, maybe feistier as time went on. And that was because Kaya and Mara were integrating and fusing. That was happening slowly. A similar situation happened to when Nin and Kyle fused, which we have a whole video about that. It's very interesting, very in-depth as to how that fusion between our alters happened. But similar to that circumstance, we were in denial about it and wanted to pretend that it wasn't happening, and that happened. I'd finally come to terms with the fact that it was happening literally weeks to maybe a month before the stalker happened, and that meant that we were mid-fusion when we experienced a new trauma, which resulted in an extremely complicated fusing, splitting situation that we still don't completely understand. But essentially, an alter was starting to form from the fusion of Kaya and Mara. That alter, that still wasn't completely themselves yet because the fusion was still happening, split because of the new trauma and resulted in two new alters, and we weren't entirely sure what was going on. Those alters and what was left of Kaya and Mara in both of them, because they were both mid-fusion when they split, continued to fuse, and they ended up being sort of almost the same person but not quite, with noticeable differences, but still almost the same person, and we're not entirely sure whether they're also fusing or not. Anyway, the situation is extremely complicated, but essentially what came out of it was two alters that are both from Mara and Kaya, who are twins. That is Soren and his sister. Soren is the only one who will be making videos for you. He's the more stable of the two, and Soren is our current host. To make it super simple as we can, Kaya was fusing with Mara, new trauma happened, that alter, which would have been Soren, split, and there's two new alters. Soren is the new host who came from Kaya and Mara, and that's where we're going to leave it because it's just too complicated. It's too complicated to get into. We've never had anything that difficult to understand happen in our system before. So your guess is as good as mine as to what the hell happened there. But essentially, the way the brain was trying to process and heal things was interrupted, corrupted. New host is Soren. I'm Soren. I have Kem and Red with me as well, and Mike watching me very closely, but this is mostly Soren at the minute. Hi, nice to meet you. Now, another thing that you might be wondering, if Soren, you have a new name, you have new host of your system, why are your URLs or your socials still Kaya & Co? That includes our Patreon, it includes our personal TikTok. Those are still at the URL Kaya & Co. Why are we not changing it to Soren & Co? Because of the criminal case, which is still ongoing. We're hoping it will be over and sorted by the end of this year. The individual, the stalker, is still in prison. He has been in prison since he was arrested in August and has not been released. As soon as that's over, then maybe we'll change our URLs. But because they are currently being used in an ongoing case, we don't want to change the usernames or the URLs or anything like that because it could interrupt evidence or change evidence that's being used in that case. So they are staying the same for now. Kaya & Co on Patreon and Kaya & Co on TikTok. Remember, our TikTok is not connected to the Dissociative project. It is just our account where we mess around and do things that we want to do for fun. The Dissociative project is dedicated to raising awareness about and providing information regarding DID and mental illnesses and trauma. We also have a Patreon update for you. So we have refurbished our Patreon. It is now being used for sneak upcoming clips of videos that will be coming soon before anyone else gets to see them. You will be able to see outtakes and bloopers. You will be able to see how our system communicates with each other and everything that doesn't go into public videos. You may also be able to see videos that we scrapped, that we said, nope, not good enough, not happy with it, or we didn't upload in time and is now irrelevant or inaccurate as things in the system change. Those videos will never see the light of day publicly. They are only available exclusively on our Patreon. You can join from $1 or £1 in your equivalent currency. And then there are different options depending on which tier you would like to subscribe to. It is the best way to support us, and you can also get merch on our Patreon, like hand-drawn art that we made like this. Hand-drawn art like this, that I believe Nin or Chloe drew this one. You can get stickers, you can get t-shirts, you can get bags, you can get posters, you can get all sorts of stuff. And last but not least, some of you might be saying, Soren, what is happening with the Sergio Costa legal case? We've been donating to your Crown Justice fundraiser to help you get your justice against this man who tried to ruin our life. If you don't know what that's about, we have a video called What Happened to DissociaDID. We actually have a whole playlist called What Happened to DissociaDID that goes over what this man did to us and how they tried to destroy our channel, everything that we've created, and our life, essentially. By you guys donating to that Crowd Justice fundraiser, we are raising money to be able to continue to fight him in court because he will not give up, and it has been going on for 4 years. 4 years since the first legal letters were exchanged. 4 years, my dude. If you would like to support us, please consider donating to our Crowd Justice fundraiser, which you can find up here and in the description box below. It is crowdjustice.com/case/DissociaDID. And if you cannot donate, please do not feel like you have to. Don't feel forced to. Don't feel pressured to. We love you just the same, regardless of whether you do or don't. But if you would still like to help, please share that link. It goes a long way. Or even sharing the playlist of, what did he do? Why might you consider helping us out if you can find it in the goodness of your heart to do so? That is just as appreciated by us and does make a huge difference. Use your voice as and how you want to, but we appreciate whatever you choose to do for us. Thank you. So to keep that short and sweet, it is ongoing. It is still happening. The court case is not over, and he has written to the judge to say that he won't accept anything that the court says and that he will not comply with court orders regardless of who wins the quantum proceedings. Just great. Wonderful. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Please have a look at some of the other videos to get an idea of what we do. Stay tuned. There are more things coming. Again, if you want sneak peeks of what is coming up and what videos are going to be next, or you want to vote on what videos you want to see, you want to suggest, hey, Soren, DissociaDID, Mike, everybody, listen up. I want to see a video on this. You can vote and you can suggest on our Patreon. We hope to see you soon. Lots of love, everybody. Stay safe. Know that you are cared about, that you are important, and that there are good things in the world that you deserve. Lots of love, everybody. Bye.